I've now built my 40k line of sight blocking Necron terrain. Time for a Dark Ops quad generator review.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, in today's Necron video we are going to have a look at the work that I've been doing on the Dark Ops quad generator. I won these pieces of terrain from a channel called Throat Saw. I'm going to link you up to his channel and also the Dark Ops channel as well, so check them out in the description below. Now, in last week's video I unboxed these pieces of terrain. Now, these quad generators aren't exactly Necron pieces of terrain, but my plan is to convert them and adapt them to match my Necron board. I built one as per the instructions and the other one I've changed around a bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go table down, have a look at the work that I've done and do a review on these products. Okay, so here is the first one. I built this as per the instructional video on the Dark Ops YouTube channel. It was very easy to follow. Now, I haven't actually done the Necron symbols on this piece yet. I'm going to talk about that in a second. First of all, I just want to review the build of this. So I actually built this with my daughter, Necron Girl. She is 10. We had a lot of fun building this and we had no issues when building it. There were some pieces that she couldn't quite push together because you needed a bit more strength, but on the whole it was very easy to build. Now, I would highly recommend that you get yourself a couple of these little clips. They do use these in the instructional video and they're designed to go on these pieces here. So when you're gluing them together, it just makes this section here a lot easier to glue. So I would recommend you get these. I got mine from Wilkinson's just for £1. Now, the detailing of the kit is also very impressive. It's very well designed and when built is actually a very solid piece of terrain. Now, of course, as I said, I'm going to adapt these into Necron pieces of terrain and I'm going to do that with some symbols. Now, in the previous video I mentioned I was going to have two symbols, maybe one here and one here, but the issue that I've got is all of my Necron symbols on all of my pieces of terrain are actually horizontal, and if I put it on here I just think it's going to look a bit odd. So I've decided to go for one symbol just at the top on each one of these pieces. I've got a different selection of these symbols. These are actually the offcuts of the laser cut card terrain. Now, the reason why I haven't glued them on is for painting purposes. In actual fact, I have to say that I am slightly concerned about getting the paintbrush in here and actually painting it. I suppose arguably if you had an airbrush that wouldn't be so much of a problem, but with my hand painting I'm not quite sure how easy it's going to be to get in there. I will only be dry brushing, so I'm assuming I'm going to be able to do it, but of course I don't know that until I start painting. I of course will be making a showcase video after I've painted it, so I'll let you know how I get on with that. Now, the only other thing which I did to the kit is I filed down the little joins just on the top there, just to give them a nice smooth finish. Now, in terms of scale, this is the big one. This is the 28mm scale version. They do a 10mm scale one as well. Now, just bring in a flayed one, so you can see it's actually quite big compared to that flayed one. Here is one of the old metal wraiths, which sits in there quite nicely. And I've got the deceiver, which actually doesn't sit in between the generators. Now, I think that could be an advantage because it means that the terrain piece itself is going to be quite interactive on the table, with some units being able to go inside and some not. However, in terms of line of sight blocking, this piece of terrain is definitely going to do the job. From this angle, you can go all the way around like so, and as you can see, you're pretty much blocking everything, so almost 180 degrees around. However, if this piece of terrain is this way, of course you can see right through it, so I think that will make it, as I said, quite interactive. But even that way, you've only got to turn the angle around like so, and once again it becomes fully line of sight blocking. So I think this is going to be fantastically playable on the table. Okay, so once this was built, it was time for me to build the second one. Now, my idea was to try and convert this somehow into two smaller pieces of terrain just to give me variety on the table. Now Dark Ops do actually make a dual generator rather than a quad generator, but it is a different design, and I don't think the dual generator really looks that Necron-ish, but I think these with the symbols on will. So I went about my business of converting the second kit. Okay, so there you go. As you can see, I was successful in doing that. Now the main issue was on the ends of these pieces you only get two of these designed sections, one obviously for here and one for here. I actually needed four of those pieces, so what I had to do was adapt the end pieces of these. So what I did is I used one of these circular pieces here from the offcuts of my TT Combat Cyber guns. Do you remember that video I said keep all of your offcuts? Well, this is the reason why. So that semi-big circle just there is from the TT Combat section, and then this section is just one of the offcuts from this kit, and this little piece in the middle was from one of my laser cut card offcuts that I had. Now of course you may not have those offcuts, but all you really need to do is find something just to go on the end here, just to make it look half decent. Of course, I had to cut the board in half to give me the two pieces. I just did that with a sharp knife and a ruler, just gently scoring away and cutting through the MDF. Not an issue at all. Now, once I'd got those two pieces, I thought, how cool would it be if maybe I could adapt this to be either a 4-piece section or a 2-piece section. Now yes, I could just put them together like so, but on the table it wouldn't really match the other piece of terrain. So what I did is this. I took the centre section which I'd previously cut out and I built this piece onto it, and what I did is I left these open rather than filling them in so that they actually slot directly into that little circle on both sides, and that then gives me two quad generators, or if I wish I can just take these apart and have one big one and two small pieces. And that really helps me change up the terrain pieces on the table. I am really happy with these, and as I said, once I've got the Necron symbols on there, which I'll paint before I glue them on there just because it's going to be easier to paint, I think these are going to look awesome. Okay, so there you go. I think these are going to look really awesome when they're painted up, and that is my next task. Let me know what you think of them in the comments box below, and if you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing. Hit my icon at the end of the video so you can keep up to date with the wonders of Warhammer 40k. Beam me up.